Hey guys, welcome back to my bedroom. It's been a hot minute. Hey guys, welcome back to my bedroom. It's been a hot minute. I'm back in my college classes and I'm getting settled into a new job, so things are a little bit hectic here right now, and September was a busy month, so we'll get back into a routine, but I know everyone is kind of struggling with that right now. Nobody's really had a routine since March, so I'm trying to practice patience with myself and my students. My courses are all online, but my new job is in a school, so I'm taking all of the necessary precautions and making sure that I'm safe in regards to pandemic procedures. Today I want to talk about recovery and healing through movement. You don't have to be a power lifter or a professional athlete to see the benefits of this, but I promise you that there will be benefits from moving your body with kindness in recovery. I'm going to be completely 100% upfront here. I currently suck at this. My recovery through movement has been a lot harder the second time round after relapse than it was the first time round, and it's definitely something that I'm making an effort towards, but don't have any set up routine for at this point. I think it's important to acknowledge that though, because the point of movement doesn't necessarily have to be every single day and something you force yourself to do, but it can be as simple and as kind as going for a short walk. There are a lot of benefits to exercise in its own right, and it's a really important part of holistic healing and recovery, but I don't think it's talked about enough in relation to recovery from addiction. It is important to find your limits and your comfort zone, but most people can do that with limited exercise equipment and resources. For me, one of the things that I like to do is go onto YouTube and follow along with simple yoga routines or basic body weight exercises. I don't do this super often, but I definitely stretch pretty much every day, and this summer I've been getting out for walks and bikes quite a bit, which has been really nice and helpful for my mental health. It's pretty easy to find different studies and journal articles about the relationship between exercise and addiction recovery, but it's not really talked about in the mainstream very much. Mainstream recovery often revolves around abstinence, 12-step programs, therapy, things like that. When in reality, exercise is a huge part of maintaining your mental health and moving forward through recovery. Exercise can create structure and routine in your life, but it doesn't have to. When I first started my recovery journey back in 2015-16, it was part of my routine. I was going for runs very regularly. I was part of a CrossFit group. And that also helped to bring in an aspect of community as well, which is also very important for recovery. Especially in early recovery though, it's important to listen to your body and to understand its limits. So if that seems like too much, or if it's a lot for you to create that routine and stick to that routine, it's perfectly okay to just go for a walk or a jog when you feel like it, or do some stretching before bed one night. The connection and community part of it really depends on what you're doing for your movement and exercise. Right now, that's something that I'm struggling with. It can also be a good way to build connection and community, but that aspect of it doesn't come for everybody. For example, the last 2 years of my movement exercise routine haven't really included doing that with anybody else. But you can find ways to incorporate that into this kind of recovery method. The connection and community thing doesn't always happen in regards to exercise routine, but it can based on where you build your routine in. So for me, for the last 2 years, I've really been doing all of that on my own, but my new job includes a gym membership. So once things start to open up again and procedures are put in place for safety protocols, that's going to be something that I'm going to be able to take advantage of. So even if you can't break into a sweat every day, or if you're exercising alone, you're still getting 2 really impactful big rewards through movement that are going to help you through your addiction recovery process. Endorphins and active body repair. In terms of addiction recovery, these are both incredibly important. Endorphins are a feel-good hormone that are released during exercise and can help improve someone's mood. And these benefits are often compounded over long periods of time. Working out can suck. It's hard, it takes a lot of energy, and usually it's not fun in the actual moment, but afterwards you tend to get a rush of adrenaline and a hit of endorphins, and that can make you feel really good and give you a rush of positivity, and that's really hard to find, especially in early recovery for some people. Exercise also helps to literally repair your brain and body, improving cardiovascular health, stimulating the immune system, and also improving depressive symptoms. Exercise can help alleviate or even reverse some of the actual physical damage that was done during active addiction. When we're in active addiction, we often don't really have any desire or care to pay attention to our body and treat it really poorly. So using exercise to move through that and to repair some of that damage can be really beneficial in recovery. On top of all those benefits, exercise can also help you manage stress and get better sleep, both of which can be really, really difficult in recovery. We know the benefits of exercise are so plentiful and obvious, so why do so many of us hate to do it? Because it sucks. I always stress about working out and struggle to get started with it. It's hard work, and us humans are hardwired to prefer easy, to prefer simple, to prefer routine. Most people who struggle with addiction have found their easy way to cope with stress, and it's whatever substance they use. So switching that mindset and trying to tell somebody who has a coping mechanism that this harder coping mechanism is going to help more in the long run is very hard to internalize. Substance use can mess with the chemical balance in someone's brain, and by no means is exercise going to be this miracle switch that turns you into feeling healthy and not depressive. It absolutely can have benefits to health and mood though, which are vital in recovery. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I'm not great with movement right now, but I do try to move my body in ways that make sense to me. When I first experienced sobriety in late 2015, I discovered running as a replacement for my evenings. Stupidly, the route I chose included a really intense hill, but that's where we started. It also kind of pushed me to take it seriously and to really make it a routine so that I could eventually get up this hill before moving cities. It was kind of like this goal or white whale that I had to achieve. It was around this time that I also started making really decent money and dramatically changed my eating habits. Once I cut alcohol out, I felt like I also had to cut out a lot of junk food and really turned around a lot of my habits into a lot healthier routines. So by the time I made the move to my next city, I was the healthiest I'd ever been. I kept running for about a year and a half, and my mental and physical health were the best they'd ever been. Eventually, I even joined a CrossFit program, and I wound up really toning up, and that was a good period. I was really excelling in most areas of my life, my job, my relationships, my finances, and I wasn't really thinking about alcohol or relapse or mental health or anything. And one of the first things that went when pre-relapse started to happen, which is what I consider the 4 months before the drinks, is I stopped eating healthy. I started eating more junk food. And that was the first sign that something was going on, and then I stopped working out. This time around at recovery has been a lot more challenging for me. For one, the first year of recovery I spent in a not supportive environment, and a lot of my experience of that time was through anger, so I substituted my drinking with junk food and resentment and a lot of other not great attitudes. Due to the angry eating, I put on a lot of weight very quickly, and that had some issues with my joints and created a lot of instability. I also actively avoided working out because I was resentful and angry of my situation and didn't feel like putting any effort into making myself better. I'm also in the middle of experiencing an aversion to food right now, but I will talk about that in a different video sometime later. In the first year of recovery this time, the weight I put on actually led to me spraining my ankles a ton, breaking my wrist. It was really hard for me to treat my body kindly when I felt like it was betraying me. And I was apathetic towards all of it. When you're consumed with bitterness and resentment, it's really hard to motivate yourself into self-care. I've gotten a lot better at simple exercise over the past year now that I've been on my own, and I do a lot of walking. I just bought myself a bike, for example, so it has been getting easier, but I have a second challenge in this period of recovery that I didn't have the first time around: fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia is a chronic pain and fatigue disorder, so it does affect my muscles and my body in ways that limit my ability to move and limit my range of motion. It's not really well understood, and there's not really a cure, but more management plans. And for me, that's included kind of understanding that rest is really important. The chronic fatigue part of it zaps a lot of my energy, so I do have to take it slower than most people most days. I'm almost always in pain of some sort, and I struggle with constant exhaustion. So I spend a lot of time just working to show up like other people, and a lot of my days are spent with a customer service face on, right? Because nobody wants to hear about somebody else's chronic disease or chronic illness. I've also been struggling a lot with like guilty feelings and feeling lazy for the last year, so I've been working to try and be kind with my body, and the walks, the bike especially, has really helped, and also taking things like baths and taking things like naps also really help. The bike is a nice way to get a good sweat in without worrying about injuring any of my ankles, which is always something I'm a little bit paranoid about since the first time I recovered. Am I perfect at this? No. It's complicated, and it's very personal, and it's connected to mental health. It's hard to motivate yourself into movement and self-care if your mental health is not in a good spot, but also knowing that movement and exercise can help your mental health is a very challenging cycle to have. I'm not pretending to have the answers here. I'm just offering a reminder to you, and mostly to myself, to be honest, that patient movement is really necessary. And that even when you really don't feel like working out or getting up out of bed, it will help you to do so in the long run. So this is one option for moving forward in your recovery, is to get out into the outdoors, is to go for nature walks, is to go down to the lake. And if that is going to help you more than, say, 12-step fellowships, or even in conjunction with, in addition to, I strongly recommend you try it and you go for a walk. Until next Wednesday, we will chat again. Bye. Because, for example, nope. Endorphins are a feel-good hormone that are released during exercise, and often, oh man. I'm not pretending to have the answer. I'm back in school, so my schedule has shifted a little bit, which is making this project a little bit less of a priority for now, but I'm still going to do my best to get a video out every week.